Now, I've wanted to have a steam cleaner for quite a while, and this is the one that they sell at basically a lot of big box stores. Amazon has it, Harbor Freight has it. It's a little over $100. I had several things I wanted to use it for in the shop, or try to use it. I was skeptical about buying it, and the reason was I know there are big industrial ones that are in the thousands of dollar range that you can, clean a fire engine with or whatever. And then there's these little tiny ones for cleaning diamond rings and stuff. I wanted something in the middle. I hope this is going to, well, we always hope this is going to serve the need that I have in the shop. And plus, Karen has asked me a couple of times, we're doing a little bit of renovation in our bathroom right now. I thought I'd try this another thing while I have it in-house. I would try to clean the bathroom tiles with it, and the shower doors and the whatever. Anyway, I wanted to show from watching a lot of YouTube videos, I picked up a lot of good information. I picked up a lot of do's and don'ts, things you can do. As an example, cleaning a barbecue grill, well, you spray some cleaner on, you let it sit, steam it. But I'm interested in basically in motorcycle parts and maybe some household things. But basically, an example is like when I took the chain cover off of the Kawasaki, and I cleaned it with diesel fuel and it just took forever. But getting that last little bit of dirt out of the cracks, the crevices, where the screw holes are, is really, really labor intensive when you want to do it right. I also thought another thing I can use this for is doing car wheels. Doing the wheels on our cars with the brake dust is a nightmare. And they make cleaner that you spray on and use steam to take it off. Again, we're going to find out. I'll read the directions before I go any further. And I'll have my cup of coffee. I'll spend the time reading the directions carefully since I'm new to this. But what I did want to share is some of the do's and don'ts and some of the things I learned. There's all kind of little accessories in here, and I've watched a lot of the YouTube videos. But what the convincing thing was, our friend Dale, I met him up at the Ducati place, and I was telling him about my desire to have one of these, and he said, "Oh, I have one. It works great." So that pushed me over the edge. Now, what I always love about unboxing something is when they pack it in this stuff that winds up getting all over the shop. In this case, it doesn't look too bad. There's a hose attached to this. Anyway, we'll have to just dump this out and see. But the unboxing of anything, and I've been unboxing baby toys for so long, I'm getting immune to the fact that I'm going to have styrofoam chips all over my house. As I throw this away, there's probably, oh yeah, that might be good not to throw it away. Anyway, I thought there's things we could use this for. Now, what I've always found is when you have a tool and you think you know everything you can use it on, a year later you're doing something and then all of a sudden you say, wait, I could have used this. Now, another thing too is like on the RD wheels, all where the rim meets the spoke, it's impossible even with a toothbrush to get in there and get that last little bit of goop out. I'm hoping this is going to help. Dale says his worked great. He sprayed on simple green, steam it, do it as many times as necessary, and eventually it cuts the grease right out. Now, I've heard other people, as long as I'm sharing things I've learned in the process of doing this, other people who will not mention any names because it may be a marital issue, that put their engine cases in the dishwasher, and that worked great. I'm not so sure Karen would, divorce wouldn't work. I think she'd murder me. It would be a wives with knives. But anyway, we're doing this, hoping that this information, whatever we can learn, look at this little puppy, it looks pretty cute. Anyway, I can do the rest of this off camera, pull off all the paper, save all the wrappers, piece it all together, and after I have my coffee, I'll be an expert on, I'm sure, see what I always love about the directions. Let's see if these are any exception to the rule. Yep, 42 different languages in Swahili and oh my God, and only one page of English that tells you everything except the few things you need to know. We'll find out. Time for some coffee. So I carefully read the instructions in English. Looked this over, and there's quite a few accessories, and this is probably the most common one I'll use. There's extension wands because this machine is capable of steaming carpeting. And I always see this ad for Stanley Steamer. I'm sure they have a heavy duty unit. But most of the stuff I want to do and is relatively simple. Now, give you a bunch of these little brushes, the steam, and they tell you not to use this copper one on. This is for cleaning grills and barbecues. And some of them look like they're a little stiffer than others. You can't really, well, maybe they aren't. One of these little guys, which I'm sure we'll find something to use it for. Now, one of the reasons I wanted this, and this is the little nozzle that it goes on, the little accessory for doing carpeting, which we have some little carpets that may be appropriate for this, and the squeegee for doing mirrors and shower doors. And this is probably one of the first ones I'm going to try using. But the point was, last year during our winter renovations of motorcycles, I spent a lot of hours degreasing parts with kerosene and with diesel fuel and M600 and every possible thing that you could do. And I'm hoping the steam is going to make that, having this machine in the shop, is going to make our future projects just that much simpler. So next thing I want to do, I want to put some water in it, plug it in, and make a cup of coffee or whatever this thing does. Now they suggest using distilled water, and I just happen to have some, of course. And if you don't have distilled water, there's a little procedure you have to do with vinegar every once in a while. But what I thought I'd do is just mix up one. They give you a cup to measure, 16 ounces. This way we're not boiling away the whole farm here. They give you a nice little cup, nice little funnel for doing an oil change or whatever you're doing here. Feel like a rocket scientist. Okay, we'll mix that nitromethane and rocket fuel, and I don't think so. Anyway, that's about 16 ounces. We're going to see how long that works. Say it works about 15 minutes. That should give us a good first little impression. We'll find something dirty to steam here. Let's just see if it's our lucky day. Okay, so we're just waiting for it to build up steam. It says from 6 to 8 minutes. Should be relatively quick because we don't have it full, of course. But the things that I'm thinking of right now, I'm just going to look around for something for a test part. And I'll put on some rubber gloves just in case, because what'll happen is steam coming out of here, of course, is going to be very, very hot. Now I watched, and just to make a reference point, I watched some videos of washing cars with steam. And of course it's an industrial unit, much higher power, but how he watched them, if this interests you, there are some really good videos of guys steam cleaning cars. One of them is with the Jay Leno Garage series. Now I have a set of motorcycle wheels that I wanted to try to clean. This is the spare set for the 750. And I wanted to show one example of what it's almost impossible to get in there. And what I do, I make up a little a paint stick with a point on it, and I get in there, and you never really get that last little bit out. See what happens in those corners? And there's little spots up around the disc areas, and that you just never really get it clean, up around the valve. A rag never really gets in there. Well, that's the advantage of, or one of the advantages. I'm hoping this is going to work well, that I can do these kind of things, is get in a lot of these little nooks and crannies. And well, up here, almost impossible to get a rag down in there. And if you, just as an example, and I've seen guys do this, take a garden hose, and you never want to use a power washer, just blowing the water everywhere. And then you never get it clean. The best way to do this will be, hopefully, if we could steam clean that, dry it with a rag, or have a compressor going and just blow some air on it. Or a shop vac with the reverse hose blowing air. And they do make a machine, I know, for blowing the water off cars when you wash it. But it's, again, these are all hundreds and hundreds of dollars. We're trying to keep the cost reasonable and just have a little tool. And I'm hoping during our restoration, when we go to do restorations where parts are greasy and dirty, it'll just save a lot of labor. Okay, this is the first test of this machine. What happens the first time you press the button? I just pressed it to see, water actually comes out. So you don't want to have it pointed at your $4,000 video camera here. Now they tell you to keep it moving. In other words, you don't want to just hold it because wow, that gets hot. And I'm sure there's some things you could damage. I would not want to put this anywhere there's electrical wires. Now what I did, I sprayed on, and Dale had given me the tip, spray on just a little bit of Simple Green. Let it sit for a minute or two. I want to put this on the floor. I don't want it dropping anywhere. I want to wipe this up and see how that's come out. Whoop. Now, I know if there are really stubborn spots on this, we'll just go back and do it over again. But I know one of the things that's annoying is when you can't get in little nooks and crannies. Well, and some people don't care, and that's okay too, but it has the look of that. It's worked in the initial impression. It's gotten a lot of the big stuff off. I think we're just going to let this sit a minute, put a little more Simple Green on it, and what I'll do is let this sit a second or two. This is just for a test anyway. Let that sit a few minutes. Okay, so we did this once. I want to try giving this a second coat. I just want to see how much it's going to take to really blow this stuff off. Okay, now this time we're down to where there's nothing. So this took two passes to do this. Now an important part of this, I know, and they don't tell you, but I know this is a fact, is you've got to dry this up. You can't, and the best thing would be, I don't have a way of doing it with the shop vac right now. I didn't plan that this was going to be an intensive thing. I just wanted to give this a test, share it with my friends. In the near future, we're going to try over and over some other experiments. We'll go out to the garage, and just not appropriate to do it today. I was just excited about having this in my inventory. I wanted to see, as soon as we get a part that we can try on this and degrease it properly. But I wanted to show this, and once you wipe this up, try to get it dry. Now I know Karen's excited because as soon as I'm done here, I'm going to go up and try to do the shower doors. Our shower doors are 25 years old, and I've used every kind of cleanser on them in the world, and they just don't really come nice and clean like they should. Maybe I'm just being too fussy. Maybe she's just being too fussy. I don't know. But I wanted to show this. I personally like things clean. Not everybody cares, but I want to show this up close. Let me take the camera off so there's no camera cuts, no trick photography. Now you can see in there, it's a whole ton cleaner. Around the valve, it's cleaner. Down in there, it's cleaner. Still some little spots. Maybe a third coat would be fine. But if I go to this side, you can see what we started with, the grease and the goop and the gunk. It's in those little cracks, and crevices, that it's just very, very hard. When you have a rag, even a rag with wax, and you're trying to get your finger down in there. Now I'm hoping, one of the things I'm hoping for, and I'm not going to do it today, but I wanted to take the GS engine and clean in between the fins. I've tried a lot of ways to just try to refresh that and get it nice and clean. And I think this is going to be one way. Now, I would say what I've learned here so far right in the beginning is you probably need 2 passes. And you've probably got to spend a lot of time drying the part if you don't have a compressor or a shop vac in reverse. But you do want to get it dry. You don't want to put the part away soaking wet. But for an initial test, I think that went about as good as I could have ever expected. So now for the initial test, I'm guessing. I'm just guessing. Those little nicks and crannies, and on every motorcycle in a lot of places, tile grout, for instance, you just can't get in there. I'd say this worked maybe a little even better than I thought it would. You could still give it a 3rd coat, or and if you're really super fanatical, I guess you could. They make, and I'm trying to think of the name of the product. I had some at one time. I used it on Karen's Volkswagen. You spray the wheel and it gets rid of the brake dust. I don't know if that's what we wanted to do here, but again, with the steam cleaner, I think that it's just going to make our life a little easier. It's having one more tool in the shop that, and again, you know, I've used the distilled water today. I've laid out the accessories. I've tried to introduce people to this, but I think what's going to happen in the future, we're going to be using this for a lot of other things, and probably some of them will not work. Some of them will work, just like our camera mounts. Anybody that knows me knows I'm fanatical about testing stuff and experimenting and trying things, and I really never give up. But anything I can add to my ability to clean parts just makes my life a lot easier and make my housework easier. Now, just because I made a mess out of the mirror here, well, you got to keep in mind, in my workshop, this is where all the buffing and sanding gets done, so that mirror is always disgusting, really disgusting. And I wanted to see if this was going to be of any value. I don't really know. Because this is how I'll try it on the shower doors. And again, a lot of things I think I just have to experiment with to see what's going to work for me. I don't know yet, but I'll certainly share it. And if you're bored, you can always put Oprah on instead of watching this. But boy, that seems to take a lot of stuff off all at once. And I saw a thing on TV about something I thought was pretty interesting, that they clean the windows of cars with this when they do show cars. They steam the windows. Now, I personally hate the inside of the windows on my cars. I don't really clean them that often. So usually about once or twice a year when I do go to clean them, they're really slimy. But this looks like it might have some possibilities. And of course, see, the squeegee has 2 edges. I've got to figure out the best way to do this. I guess you have to put both edges on at the same time. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Both edges on a squeegee. Now, of course, the last thing is I got to dry this up with some paper towels and see if it's as clean as it looks. 'Cause this is the most disgusting piece of glass in the house. Oh my God, it's squeaky clean. You heard that word, squeaky clean? And when you're buffing out a part, the chemicals that are on here and the M600, well, that really came out clean. Wow. Kind of excited. I got some steam left here, but I don't want to throw the steam away. What I think I'll do is try what I have left. I want to tie that attachment. I'll give it a try in the bathroom floor and see what happens. See, there are some scratches in the mirror. Obviously, they're not going to come out. But actually, that's the cleanest that mirror has been. Maybe since we moved into the house. Who knows? Now I got to kind of jiggle myself in here. This is the shop bathroom floor, which obviously takes a beating in terms of we're always work clothes here. And I'm just using up the steam I have here. Also, I'm just wasting it. Now they say another thing, a side benefit, if you hold this in a position for so many seconds, it sanitizes things, which, I don't know, if you got somebody sick in the house, that may be of some value. So anyway, these are the things I'm just going to play the rest of the day here, use up my steam. I hope some of this is going to result in, well, you can just see how this played out. As I'm finding things to clean, there's a couple of things. This toothbrush holder always has the residue of the toothpaste and everything. And of course we have a baby in the house, so it needs a lot of cleaning. But that's one thing, it came perfectly clean. Also, here's the things that steamer is really good for. See along the edges here? It just totally cleans out what's in the edge. Or around the sink here. Places that you normally can't get to. And you see some of the stuff that just floats out from under there. Here's one thing it's really good at. The grout here, of course, is 25 years old. I mean, just look at the goop that's in the grout here. Now you can see which one is clean and which one isn't. Well, I have, at least up in our bathroom that I made when I moved into the house, there's a lot of little nooks and crannies that never get clean. I'm hoping this is going to help. I'm not sure if you can see it, but I just used this. I used this brush here. This basically, I just wanted to see, these are indoor-outdoor rugs that are really difficult to clean. And because this is a shop environment, I'm just playing here, using up the steam that I already made. Don't want to waste any steam, but I think you can see, well, let's see if you can get a close-up on it. You can see where this is, it really did come out nice and clean. I'm amazed. So that's, yeah, well, again, I'm sure in the near future we're going to find other things to use this little guy for. Karen has already come home and she's already found 20 things she wants me to steam clean, but that's for a future video. We've learned a lot today. We've had a lot of fun, and hope we've introduced you to this, it's about a little over $100 tool. And if it may work in your environment, great. And thanks for watching.